Well, there's no doubt the real estate landscape is ever changing, and one of the dilemmas homeowners often face is finding it difficult to sell an apartment quickly. Darius Solomon, associate broker at Prudential Douglas Elliman, is back this morning to shed some light on apartment selling woes. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
First, let's talk a little bit about the market. You're not saying it's a buyer's market per se, or the shift is there, but how would you characterize it?
Well,
right
we saw a lot of changes. We came off of the fourth quarter, actually third quarter of last year, where we had a lot of inventory. It started to decrease into the fourth quarter, and even further now, we've seen that we were in a buyer's market, the beginnings that we talked about before, but as inventory has started to decrease a little bit again, and interest rates remain low, we're somewhere still really in between. It's neither exactly a buyer's or seller's market.
Okay.
So it depends on who's looking for what, and it's a matter of looking at the prices out there as well.
But in general, still seeing some wait time on the market more than perhaps...
Definitely longer wait times, but we've really seen a shift of people coming back in and actually seeing multiple offers on properly priced properties.
And a more educated buyer, is that right? I mean, you read about this in the Times, and I know you've talked about it a lot.
By far, much more educated. You have to understand, with the internet, and so many people talk about internet and so on, they have access to a lot more data than before. And actually, coming up in the near few months, the Real Estate Board of New York will be releasing a website which will give the consumer access to much of the data that a broker actually sees as well.
Okay.
So they'll be even further educated.
All right, let's talk about one of the things you say is always critical is pricing, and you have to really look at, you may have in your mind what you think the price should be, but look at what the market's telling you.
And we've seen, people looking at last year's prices, and we've talked about this. You have to be really aware of what the current price points are. Let's say if you're the average one-bedroom co-op at $609,000.
Right.
Where is yours priced in that range? So you have to be realistic about that. And another important step is understanding when you have priced your property and you're selling, what are those prices coming in at? What are the offers being made?
Right. Finally acknowledge it. All right, this may be where it's at play. Okay.
Exactly.
Now, it sounds very basic, but the presentation of your apartment, I mean, a lot of people don't give this enough time and thought, right?
This is a simple but equally important point. When people walk in, you want them to be somewhat, welcomed or pleased with what they see. Now, and we might all think that we're well organized or, kept the place clean, but really take a point in having people that maybe a friend, maybe a parent, come in and take a look at how your property looks. Get a sense, get it organized, clutter, all these things. People have a hard time looking through these. So you want to do with whatever you can. You don't have to go out of the way, but just to make sure that your home is organized, clean, and presentable.
All right. The other thing, Darius, you say is take into account your own building, some things that may be attractive or not to a buyer, for example.
Well, there's definitely the aspect of amenities to a building, but also it's important to note, let's say, common charges and maintenance charges. When you're looking at how you price your apartment, if your maintenance on a one-bedroom is $2,000 is very expensive. Let's say $1,200, and the average is $1,000. You might also have to take some concessions in your price to be able to make it more attractive to the buyer and bring it in range with other properties that are similarly priced.
And, of course, those kinds of charges give you some insight sometimes into the financial health of the building as well.
They do, and I say with caution there, every building has a different, you will look at the financials, and we've talked many times about having your attorney look over the building financials to get a true understanding of what's coming up. But there are a lot of things you can do that will, you want to get the information in front of the buyer, because like I said, they're educated. You want to make sure that they've been provided with all the data out there, and the most important step right now, and this is something that people really have to be, to understand, is the fact that whatever you have your apartment priced at, be aware of if all the offers are coming in with a certain range, you're going to have to start to accept that that's what the market will bear. And that's something that will help you, although you might want to make this price, that you have to really consider when selling your apartments.
All right. Darius Solomon, as always, thank you so much.
Always a pleasure.
Try to sell those apartments. We'll be right back.